The old shuckster. Right there. Yeah. Oh.
We're live.
Nice. Hello. Hi there.
Chad, did you put the backplate on your mic or not? Like that one?
I did not. Should I? Is that a thing I should do?
I don't know. Do what you want, man.
I do kind of like it, like just the flat. Sure, I do like that, but we'll see. I'm still kind of fiddling around.
Did you mess with any of those to change it to like bass or roll off or any of that?
I didn't. I haven't looked into it enough to do anything, which is why I haven't put the backplate on.
I got you. Mine is exactly how it was out of the box.
Yeah, which is, it's fine. They know what they're doing, right?
I figure they know more about it than I do, so I'll take their lead on it.
Yeah, drain and fill, coolant's done. Mic's good. Set and ready to go, baby.
How's that cloud lifter? Do I need to buy one?
I mean, it's up to Jared. If we sound super different to him, then he's gonna have to tell us. Because you'd have to get the cloud lifter and another cable. Like I got a little
another XLR.
Yeah, I got another like 1.5 foot XLR, which plugs into the Scarlett, and then I got the 6 footer
Scarlett. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah,
I got like a 25 footer XLR run into this baby from the Scarlett.
Oh,
remember, I gotta have my stuff. Yeah. So I have to run it around the walls of the house.
Yeah.
To get it to where I need it.
Yep.
Tiffany loves it. It's her favorite.
Just the big, thick cable all over the floor.
It's not. I mean, to be fair, it's behind stuff, and I spent a lot of time making it not obvious. Not so much to hide it from my wife, but so my kids wouldn't rip on it and stuff.
Yeah. That's fair.
Concern.
There's also cat, right?
Yeah, and a dog, and just juice and beverages at all times from children.
I mean, these the XLR cables are solid. Like they're really solid. If you get like studio quality ones, you can beat them up quite a bit. Oh man, so this is some really good Gambit news. So I'm really happy to get into it.
I'm not crazy about it.
The we'll talk about it, but I think we'll talk about it. I don't want to talk about too much in the pre.
Q in as a role on Gambit. Gambit's never as good as where it's at. It's never going to be where it needs to be at until you queue into a wall.
Yeah, queue in. Yeah.
And whenever you queue into a role, I still wouldn't be upset if there was like a loadout, like 10 different loadouts or something, or 5 different per role with.
Yep. Oh man.
All right, we ready?
Yeah.
Chad,
you can't hear any creaking, right? None of the scroll wheeling.
I need to turn this AC off.
That's dope.
You're also coming through Discord, so like Discord also filters some of that stuff out.
Yeah. Nice. That's super exciting. I feel good about that. Yeah, that should be good. Yeah, that's fine. It's all fine. Oh, look at that guy. Look at him. I was about to sing something, and I don't want to get a copy strike on us.
This means we made it if that happens.
So you want me to do it until it happens?
Yeah. That's the only way you blow up is something bad happens to you. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah. small time YouTubers get hit with a copy strike. Let's support them.
Yep.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Dude,
We're
I'm
not
already-
YouTubers, we're podcasters. See, then
Yeah.
you don't have to feel as bad about our
Yeah.
crappy
Well,
YouTube
well,
channel.
the thing is, you'd get hit on the YouTube, yeah, but like the pods are like fine.
I'm already starting to have rating counter dreams. So
No way.
yeah.
Did is
Yes,
A-Track
I
still in
love
your
it.
nightmares?
No,
Oh my gosh, like
yes. It
Don't.
is. Looking back,
Don't.
like how did we
I
not think the tractor can and then like do as much damn DPS as possible?
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
go down. It just blows my mind. We didn't think of it.
Yeah.
I'm still so surprised that it actually was burst damage. There's like that. I really thought there was a mechanic we were missing because we were doing like this much damage.
Yeah,
Other
and
than
the thing
L4.
is, we were so spot on with the mechanic because of how long we were doing it that we were all like, something's got to be wrong. We're just
Yeah.
not doing it. But
That's
now
what
we
I'm
all
saying.
have
I was
Titans
dead
with
wrong.
Curus.
I was dead wrong.
We have
Yeah.
like the well. Well, I think we'll be able to put out a good amount of damage.
I think all we have is
Um,
Titans and Warlocks now, right?
Yeah.
Zin's a Titan.
Well,
You're a
I mean-
Titan. Wes is a
I mean,
Titan.
Jared could run his hunter.
Jared's,
I literally could do anything.
Jared's a Titan.
I can do anything. But
Yeah.
yeah.
He's the. I mean,
I mean, I could
that's-
switch to a warlock too if we need 6 warlocks. Like we're
Yeah.
fine. We're golden. We're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, we could totally do like Ryan boops him with the tractor and then just 5 falling stars just hit it in the face. Whatever it is. And then just shotguns. Just 5 falling stars. Bang, and then boop, 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 boop.
Lament is still the best burst damage, I think. Or maybe rocket
Yeah.
launchers, but
Yeah.
if you're up close
That-
with
yeah,
burst,
it-
you
that,
can't
and
really
that's
do
if the enemy's on the ground.
that. Mhm.
But we'll see. We'll see. But let's get this
All right.
puppy started.
So I'll talk and then. Oh, I forgot to change that part at the top because I'm stupid.
Hey,
Stupid.
you're not stupid. You're just dumb.
I think I changed the first part. Maybe. Is it 48? Is that
I
right?
did. I changed it.
Ah, thank
I changed it because you hadn't yet, and I was gonna tell you. I'm still working on my like food list for shopping on Monday.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to think. I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna go with like just frozen pizzas because I'm shipping the kids to
Dude, like-
grandma's, so they're not. Like, I just have to worry. I just have to worry
got,
about
like,
me.
Pasta salad on the menu, like chicken/tuna/egg salad sandwiches
think
on the
I'm-
menu.
I think I'm gonna go. Hold on, this would be a good mailbag here.
Okay. Is their meal prepping? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, Jared has his significant other to take care of his stuff.
Man.
Tiffany's gonna be like, "F you, figure it out on yourself."
Well, I can just order DoorDash too. Just get
Yeah.
it delivered.
Hey, we've been ordering DoorDash over to here. Tiffany is like a Prime member or something
Mhm.
Oh
for
jeez.
it.
All right.
It's free delivery. I mean, if you do it twice a month, you've paid for it.
Yeah.
At least
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And she gets it at work a fair bit. So
Yeah, it makes sense.
all right. When I start recording. We are live for episode 48 of the Conqueror's Corner podcast. Today is Thursday, February 17th. We are officially 1 week away from the Witch Queen expansion, which is very exciting. I'm not Ryan Fox. I'm here with my fire team, Jared.
Yeah, hey guys, we're not talking about practice. We're not talking about a game. We're talking about Gambit today. Gambit.
Practice. And the chronicler himself, Chad Ocero.
Yeah, there's going to be a good amount of Gambit talk, and I think that you are going to be surprised by all 3 of our opinions.
If you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget you can take us on the road via Spotify, iTunes, and other podcast services, including iHeartRadio. Follow us on Twitter at DestinyCCPod. Send us Bungie friend requests so we can all play together. Got a interesting TWAB, controversial, dare I say, contentious TWAB coming this week. But before we get into that, we are going to listen to the intro music from our favorite link, at Link of Time G on Twitter.
All right, everyone. It's finally come. It is the last TWAB before the Witch Queen, and we finally get to put to an end the end of the season of the Lost missions. We've been waiting around this for 4 months now. This is kind of where it is, or pretty close to it. We talked about last week how the bridge finally got completed, what it looks like to where the ritual was going to take place, and the mission kind of took you there, and you got to run across the bridge. And whenever I seen that, I was like, "Oh, cool! This is going to be something like the Reckoning. You have to fight your way across the bridge, but it's kind of just like run across the bridge and just get to the end." And that's kind of where the bugs of the mission kind of started. If some people with eager edge and sword skating across the bridge too quickly, it could make you not progress the mission. And then also, if somebody cut out on the cutscene at the end, it would also make the mission bug out and you not get progress. So Chad, is there anything of note Thor-wise you want to go ahead and start talking a little bit of what happened during that mission?
Ooh, well, we already knew what we were headed towards. We knew we were headed towards, Mara was trying to kill the worm and Savathun at the same time. So the bridge being built was something I actually didn't really notice until someone pointed out a while ago, and I'm like, oh, hey, neat, a bridge. I always saw that statue in the middle, and then the tower. Obviously, I'm like, well, that's got to be where we end up. But it's cool. You load in, you realign some stuff in the main blind well area, and then you go to that bridge where you land, and you see the worm doing its thing up there. Now we know that there's only 3 worms alive. And we think it might be the energy of the first one that actually gave them their powers, the 3 sisters initially. I just can't remember the name off the top of my head. I don't think it was... No, Akka's the Dreadnought. I can't remember at the moment. But we see it, and we know that that's not Savathun's worm. That's actually one of the worm gods. So we know they're angry. And Savathun knew that and knew that Xivu was after her. So we go there. Xivu hits us, and it's really cool, that boss room, because Saint hits us with that infinite bubble, that perma bubble. It took him all year to charge it back up, and I'm happy because it's there. And we kill all of Xivu's stuff, and obviously this is spoilers, but it's been out for a couple days. So we get there. They finally crack the crystal, and Mara pulls out a knife to kill a hive god, and there's Ryan's boy. His best boy.
OC.
Just chilling. But after that, if you go, follow the quest line if you can get it. You talk to Saint, then you talk to Mara again, and then if you go to the radio, you find out that the Tech Yuns have 100% confirmed that it is Osiris, and he is alive. He's obviously hospitalized, heavily hospitalized, and not awake. And Saint's there nursing him back to health. And I see him with a little, nurse outfit with the helmet, the little hawk going on. And I want to be there for that.
I wish he looked more like the Joker from The Dark Knight. That's that's the nurse outfit I like to think of seeing in.
Yeah, but I mean, lore wise, we all knew that Savathun was going to get away because of Witch Queen. So it's not too big of a twist. But just seeing Mara pull a knife on, even though the god doesn't have the worm, it's still a hive god, my guy. Like, come on, you got to do something bigger than that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. So did Mara have any intentions of taking out Savathun? Or was she just playing us for fools? Because if she had intentions, why did she only have a knife?
I think she did want to take out Savathun. I don't think she wanted to destroy the worm.
No,
Okay.
she wanted the worm for information, which we're going to find out. I think that worm is the same one that's in the trailer cutscene where it's on Zavala's desk. It's that's her worm. And we know that from their father, the Osmium King's worm, he had a dead worm that washed ashore. It could still whisper, kind of like what an Ahamkara did. So they can still kind of extract information from it, even if it is dead. So it's definitely valuable getting that body back. And we know that Mara already can talk to Ahamkara, living and dead. We know that that's a thing that she does frequently. So she's found a way around it with the wish wall. She knows how to get her questions answered correctly. So that's definitely an important thing for her to get, for us to get that our hands on that worm. And I think she was definitely trying to kill Savathun, but she overestimated herself for sure, which isn't surprising. She thinks she's amazing, which, I mean, if she's listening to this podcast, she definitely is.
Yeah, Chad thinks she's amazing too.
But yeah,
So
I think it was definitely
I have
underdone.
another question for you. So, as somebody who had the pleasure of getting to play that exorcism mission 6 times before it took me to the next step of the quest, Mara kind of talks about how basically is she gonna rise up? Like what's gonna happen with her? Like I don't trust her. I like kind of trusted her before, but I know that she's got this. She doesn't like us because of like her brother and how he was treated, and he's still like, we can't tell him his past and this and that. So is Mario going to end up being a bad guy, first of all? And second of all, is this going to close up the 15th wish? Is this finally going to come out and maybe wrap that storyline? Because she did mention something, I believe, about closing the curse of the Dreaming City. So do you think that that's a possibility?
Well, she said that there's still a way to get rid of the curse. Now, whether this leads to that in the 15th wish, I'm not sure. The 15th wish, though, I think might be tied to something that other people have pointed out, and that is that there is still, in fact, an Ahamkara egg in Mara's chamber. And that might have to deal with that if that's something down the line that we run into. But I think Mara, as far as story wise, I think she respects the main guardian, who's the player character. Doesn't fully trust them, but also knows that they are dependable. So she knows that they're not a pawn. They're like more of like a rook or a bishop, a piece that she can actually wield with some form of skill. And uses well. So we also didn't say anything to Crow about anything, and we respected her wishes there. So I don't think she is a bad guy. I just think that she always tries to spin reality in her favor, and that can make anybody seem like a bad guy when it's not in your favor.
I definitely view her as somebody that's in the gray. She's not light nor dark, but she is somebody that's out for power in herself. All right. So Fox said it took you 6 times to get the mission to complete. Last night I got on and I was like, all right, I'm gonna give this one try. If I don't get it, so what? I'd seen the YouTube videos of the cutscene to know what I need to talk about today, but I was able to get it first try. Everybody watched the cutscene and everything. Nobody like flew across the bridge or anything? Chad, did it work out for you?
3. It took me 3 tries.
Yeah.
I did it twice, and then I hopped in with a homie and got it.
Yeah.
So the time it actually registered for me, somebody skipped the cutscene. So I was typing in local chat like jerk and stuff, like and then it just still progressed the quest. I did dismantle the weapon before looking to see it had double perks though, so that was really smart on my part.
Yeah. All right, so that's kind of it for the beginning of the week. Today, the TWAB did drop, and Gambit it's filled for the first half of it. And Fox, I know you're very eager to talk about your favorite game type in Destiny 2.
Yeah, so I love Gambit more than most people. I used to love it more than I do currently. This season was kind of a drag, in my opinion, just due to how easy, like, fusion rifle meta with the Primeval was really rough. So let's just get right in here. So the first thing, which I have to shout out to the person that's been sliding in the DMs, they did call that freelance would be added as a playlist node. Obviously, this isn't the answer. Even Bungie admits that that's not how they want it to be. They just have to. This is kind of a band-aid until they get it to where they hope it can be, and then get everybody back into the same hopper or playlist. So if you're a solo player, why would you ever not do freelance at this point now that it is an option? Do you guys think you'll ever not play freelance if you're solo?
So there's been times with the solo playlist with Iron Banner to where at different points in the season, the solo playlist is sweatier than the stack playlist, and then vice versa. It just depends. Like, sometimes you play a game here or there on each playlist, and so you might get an easy streak on the fire team one compared to the solo list.
I mean, it's yeah, definitely. The, like Jared said, the freelance playlist is kind of flip-floppy sometimes. I mean, for me personally, I'd still prefer to have those games that are fun than have a higher probability of it being a stomp, whether that's a self-fulfilling prophecy or not. Because as soon as I go into the regular playlist alone, I'm already like, this isn't gonna be fun. I'm in here for a bounty, and let's try to get this over with. So I'm hoping it helps. Definitely, it'll definitely keep people, because people can still be on comms, but it'll keep the teamwork to a minimum, which is going to be better overall for solo players. The problem is, which they kind of try to mitigate here, is that not everybody knows Gambit Prime, which forced you to know what each position was on the field. And since people don't know that, they rush for moats, or they stand by the invader gate, or like stuff like that. Nobody goes to the bank to kill anything because they don't really know. And it can lead to a lot of undue stress just because people don't know, but that's like it's not it's not their fault. The game doesn't teach anything without Gambit Prime around. But I think they did mitigate that a little bit. I think we'll talk about that a little bit later here. But I mean, that's all they can do is have a teacher mode, and then freelance will be a little better.
Yep. So they say that we are investigating ways to remove the need for the freelance node, and that splits the population. So, and it says, hopefully we'll have something for you later this year. So hopefully in the third season or the fourth season of this year, hopefully we have something that tries to solidify it there. But I should have mentioned previously that the core tenets that they believe is important for Gambit. So I'm just going to read these straight off the TWAB bullet points here. You can showcase both your skill at fighting in Destiny and the variety and focus of your arsenal. It should be just as inherently fun and rewarding to shoot aliens in the face in Gambit as it is elsewhere. Right now, it doesn't feel that way. In my opinion, I think that you'll never convince me otherwise that sometimes you'll get to like the third wave of a Gambit match and you just start taking increased damage or something. You die so fast at times, and it's very frustrating. Um, a good invader should be able to turn the tide of a match, but a good invader should be no more important than any other equally skilled team member. A good invader does not have to mean a PvP god loaded up with the best tracking / one-hit kill weaponry. Here's how Gambit works now. As somebody that's played many rounds of Gambit and many resets. If you're with a team, you run multiple Titans, maybe a well, but probably you could run 4 Titans. And you could either do the Curus of the Falling Star, Thunder Crash Titan, or you could do the Hammer Titan, the one where you can stack those up and get just nutty DPS very quickly. And you have one person that's invading, and they use Eyes of Tomorrow or Truth. Maybe if they're a crazy sniper, they'd pair that up with a sniper. And then your team goes through. Everybody else is just set to slay out. And you collect all the motes. You wait for the first team to bank. You're all standing there. You destroy all of their blockers that they send over. And then you deposit all of your motes at that point, which is going to put at least 3, if not 4 blockers on their side. Your invader goes over immediately and then wipes the other team while they're trying to clear the blockers. And then at that point, you've drained probably 15 to 20 of their motes, and you've already got a head start on the second or the third wave of ads, and they're still waiting to respawn because you have a 10-second respawn timer. Everybody always respawns in the same area, and your teammate has already grabbed heavy off the wall because it's already spawned at that point. And if you're unlucky or lucky, depending on which team you are, you've got heavy brick to drop off of an enemy that's came up. So you can essentially, if you time that first invasion correctly, you can get up 50 or 60 motes and be ready to invade again before the other team can recover. And then once you do get to the primeval phase, it doesn't matter how many invaders, or I apologize, how many blockers that the other team stacks over, because you can melt the boss so fast that it doesn't even matter. So right now, that first invade is kind of what turns the match. If you've ever 4-stacked and like put forth an effort and tried to win in Gambit, it's not that difficult. So next bullet point, players defending against invaders should have ample tools to fight invaders without worrying about using up ammunition dealing with tougher enemies. So, and players should have methods for recovering from a devastating invade. So we don't have any sort of method to recover from the devastating invade. And if you are trying to defend against invaders, if you're out of special, which you can go through your special pretty fast, and we've all been there. If sometimes the green dries up, you don't have any special, so you don't have any sniper ammo or anything at all, or shotgun ammo to deal with blockers. They send a knight over and you're shooting at it with an SMG or a scout rifle or something. Not real fun. So, in the first 3 minutes of a match, most of the time if you're going to win or lose, unless the other team chokes it away. And here, last bullet point: working together with your team to overcome tough enemies, the primeval, a high-value target, or an invader, should feel as gratifying as a hard nightfall. Now that seems a little romantic to me. I think
Yeah.
I'm not sure that killing a high-value target or an invader should be as gratifying as a hard nightfall, but that's neither here nor there. So the changes that they're going to make changes to the core activity, changes to the ammo economy, changes to the primeval tuning, changes to invasions, and changes to the rewards. So, is there anything I've said so far that you guys want to add on to?
No, I think you touched all the major pain points that's going on in Gambit.
Was that pretty well how your guys' Gambit experience went, as far as like when you were going up against the stack? The first invade pretty well determined the outcome of the next 7 minutes of your life.
Yep. And
All right.
depending on that team, that first invade can happen in like a minute.
Yep.
And then it's like, okay, well, here goes suffering for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah. And it just had like a snowball effect. You know, it was just really frustrating. So here they go down and they talk about rotating seasonal selection of curated encounters starting in season 16. In classic Gambit/Prime, you got a randomly selected encounter from a list of 3 for each enemy race on each map. In Beyond Light, due to production issues, we were only able to bring 1 of the 3 variations forward in the new activity. Those issues have been fixed. We are now bringing the missing variations forward. I mean, I don't ever remember. That was not something that I ever felt was a painful point myself. Playing with a single variation for a race/map for a year led to interesting observation. It's fun to know that Hive on Pacifica means, quote, oh god, those shriekers, and learn the spawns and master them over time. Maybe not interesting for an entire year, but we think it will be interesting to have a set rotation of spawns for a season of those 3 months, really master each encounter. So, no more shriekers on Pacifica for now, but they will be back later in the year. I don't know. Like, did you guys ever think, like, I mean, it was annoying to see those shriekers on the, you know, Pacifica is the big circle map with like the treadmills on the outside of it.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you got those shriekers, it was kind of painful. But, I mean, to me, an enemy to shoot at is an enemy to shoot at. It's just a means to the end to get to the primeval. So, anything exciting in there for you guys?
Basically, I always knew it was the map that's on Nessus. I don't remember any of the names that the Gambit maps, but basically, second spawn was always on steps. So like first spawn straight back, and then whenever I'm like I fall behind at all, I just run straight the steps to wait by the spawn point for the enemies to come out and like shadow dive the first 2 chieftains that come out or whatever, something like that. So
yeah. So
yeah,
I thought. Sorry, Chad, I didn't mean to cut you off, man.
No, it's fine. It's the same thing as Jared said. Knowing the spawns was helpful, but like very monotone to me, where I'm just like sitting there doing the same thing, and like being able to predict, oh, it's Cabal on Nessus. That means we're gonna have to sit here and wait 5 seconds for turrets, and like it became the same thing over and over again, which was very dull when Ryan needs you to help him out, go for that dredging gilding again. You know, more variety is always good. It just changes the pace and makes things feel different.
So this next little section here, I think this is going to be a really nice quality of life change. Respawn points added to all fronts. So what Bungie refers to as fronts are sections of the maps where enemies could cycle in or out. So that's kind of like the 3 areas where the enemies are going to be coming from each map. It can be frustrating to always have to run all the way from the backfield after spawning before you are able to help teammates fight the invader, collect drop modes, etc. It can also be very frustrating as an invader to always spawn at the same location on the same map multiple times in a row, or to have the invader camp the entrance to avoid confrontation. More respawn points spread throughout the front should help you get back to the action faster and provide for less predictable spawn points during invasions. So let's talk about this for a second. So the 10-second respawn timer, how many times have you went to go and res somebody and then they auto respawn back at the initial spawn point of the map, which is 20 seconds away from the action a lot of times?
Yeah.
Very frustrating. And then if an invader comes over and let's say they pop over and you're fighting off all those blockers that they sent over on you, and they just shoot Eyes of Tomorrow right at the bank and kill 3 of you. Well, guess who has enough time and knows exactly where all three of you are going to spawn in 10 seconds? The invader. So what do you do as an invader? You go right back to where you know they're going to spawn, and you wait, or you charge and you cast your super, and then Jared gets 7 kills and 1 invasion from that. So being able to spawn at different points will help mitigate that, which will be nice. The other thing that I read here that I thought was interesting was it can be very frustrating as an invader to always spawn at the same location. How many times have you played a team that's very, very well known and you die 2 seconds after spawning in because they're sitting there looking at one of the 3 spots that you're going to spawn to, and then you get sniped in the head and it's over. So that will help that as well. So I assume you guys are happy about all those changes because I don't know why you wouldn't be.
Yeah, I think all those were needed.
Definitely a double thumbs up from me.
All right. So this part I thought was interesting. I'm not sure how. I don't really like this. I feel like this is a participation trophy of a Gambit here. Players always drop half the motes they were carrying when they are defeated. They can be picked up by anyone, including invaders. Invaders can also drop motes now, and this makes recovering from a ruthless invader a little easier. This one I'm not crazy about. I guess maybe it might make sniping less of an option if you are the invader. Maybe you, like if you're down, maybe you. I don't know. I still think everybody's gonna snipe, but to me, I think if you die carrying motes, I think you should lose the motes. Do you guys have a differing opinion?
Yeah, I do differ a little bit. This is back to the collectible of Gambit Prime. This was an ability then, and that's probably when I probably enjoyed the Gambit the most, when you actually had roles and abilities tied into doing that, playing that part of the game. Unfortunately, you can't just like queue in as a collectible or anything like that. But I think this is a good change because let's just get to the primeval damage phase as fast as possible. Like, just not prolong collecting motes and banking. Let's just get to the boss damage phase and play it out from there as fast as possible.
Yeah, same thing as what Jared said. I mean, it's get if your enemy's on the primeval step, let's get the other team to that same step as fast as possible, so you don't feel so behind. It's just helpful. Like, if you can defend a teammate that died or pick up their motes and run away, then even if, because one of the things I hated was when the enemy team has a primeval and you're still trying to drop stuff and they just keep on invading you. And it's like, dude, you guys got primeval.
Hold
like,
on. We'll get to that.
But like, it's just I want to pick up my motes. I want to die and pick up my homies' motes.
Here, players can be revived by other players 2 seconds earlier, and auto respawn is delayed 2 seconds. We want to emphasize and reward teamwork as much as possible. Bringing your teammate back is now easier. This change should reduce the frustrating moments of teammates being forced to respawn as you're halfway through their revive interact. And when your teammate dies and you run to grab their drop motes, stop for a second, drop a bag on them, and revive them, will ya? So, kind of talked about that already. All shields have an increasing resistance to non-matching damage types. They said not as severe as match game, but they want to promote build crafting and teamwork. To me, this just sounds like, hey, let's make a change for the sake of making a change. Rules of Gambit note added to the launch screen, and numerous Gambit-specific hints have been added to the load screen. Gambit can be a bit opaque to newcomers. This should give them a leg up. Yeah, so I don't know. I think that's wishful thinking, because don't most people use the load screen to pull their phone and see if they have anything going on it? Yep. I mean, I know on Xbox that's what I did. That was the hardest part of coming to PC was there were no load times, so you never got to look at your phone anymore while you played. So, Chad, what did you think? What do you think? What was the out of those that we've went over so far? What were you most like? Oh, that's a good idea. Like, what gave you that thought out of all those?
Mm, you're putting me on the spot on that one. I mean,
Yep.
just any changes to invade are like spacing out is going to be the one that I think we've talked about it the most. I can't like I'm rolling back to how many times we've just verbalized as a group what we would do to change, and I think Ryan did go through a rant of things that he wanted to change about Gambit because he's the idea guy.
Not an
and
execution guy, just ideas.
like I will disagree with Ryan a lot, but his Gambit changes because he plays the most out of all of us. He pulls him out of a very balanced place because he wants the game mode to be great. Because he's like, I want more people to like it so I can play it with more people. So I defer a lot of opinions for Gambit to Ryan's opinion because of that fact. Because he doesn't want to overbalance something. He pulls it out of a good place in his heart. You know what I mean?
Chad, that's the kindest thing you've ever said to me through 48 episodes of this podcast. So now I know how Jared feels whenever you talk about him. So moving on, blockers draining in the bank. While we didn't do any drastic adjustments here, we have a few tweaks that we think will increase interesting decisions both when sending in battling blockers and hopefully remove the feeling of helplessness as you pour ammo into 3 knights as all of your modes drain away. Good God, have I been there doing that. The rest of your team is twiddling their thumbs on the beach, and you got 3 knights breathing fire everywhere, and you get each one to about a quarter health, and then you die because they just have infinite fire that goes everywhere. So the phalanx, which used to you could kill with like a grenade or 2 shotgun shots. They are increasing the health of the phalanx blocker. While they are a good positional challenge with their shield and their knockback, we felt like they weren't quite tough enough for their moat cost compared to the knights, so we increased their health. The 15 moat knight blocker gains a stasis attack. You've got to be kidding me with this. We originally planned to pull its health down some as we felt it was a little too beef for 15 moats, but with the ammo changes below, we didn't find the current health onerous in playtesting. Onerous. I disagree. I hate those knights. The knights are only bad if there are 2 of them. If there are 2 knights, do you remember back whenever if you play the Vex and they would put like their protect on each other and there was like nothing you could do to kill them. Do you remember that? The little guys that have the juice box in their belly. The goblins. Whenever the goblins, like each goblin would protect each other and there was nothing you could do. That is the only thing more frustrating than having 2 knights up. So now giving them a stasis attack is that's just mean. I think it's cruel. Do you guys hate the knights as much as me, or am I just overreacting to this here?
The fire that they spit out, because the fire, I don't know why they haven't fixed this. I mean, it's probably a difficult fix. It's not truly, if you look down at the fire and it's not touching you, it's still ticking your damage down. They've never really figured out the hitbox registration of the fire. So like that is the biggest issue with knights to me is the fire that they spit out.
Now, if they like tone the fire down either by like shortening the amount of time that it stays or lessening the damage that it does, I feel like that would go a long way.
Yeah.
Moat drain from multiple blockers continues even if the opposing team is in primeval phase. This will help the team that is behind get to the primeval a little quicker. It's never felt great to send over 4 blockers only to have the enemy team ignore them, all while being severely behind. So if the other team has a primeval, you let's say it's 100 to 60, you clear your area and you start dropping blockers on them, you're still going to be pulling, like draining moats that go into your bank unless they kill those blockers. So that will help. That will help in the fact that the other team can't just focus on melt the envoys, damage the boss. Melt the envoys, damage the boss. Because that's what it is at the moment. So moat drain is paused if a player is near the bank and engaging blockers. It never feels great to have your moats draining while you pour primary ammo into 3 taken knights. Hallelujah on that. So I'm not sure. I think this is going to be very dependent upon what that radius is from the bank.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just, so let's think about the Earth map, the one that has the beach to the right when you spawn, the trees to the left. Like, you know how the bank is on that raised platform there in the middle? If that entire raised platform that's like concrete or the equivalent of concrete, if that whole area counts as being close enough to the bank, I think that's too far. I would think like, what's shotgun range? Like 8 meters?
Yeah.
Like one hit shotgun range on like, not counting chaperone, is like 8 meters. So I think that would probably be close enough myself. What do you guys think is an appropriate range that stops the drain on that?
So to me, this is dependent on how far the blockers move out from the bank. If the blockers are coded to go out 20 meters from the bank, then it counts as being near the bank because you're going out to kill a blocker.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Yep.
I agree with that.
Yep, the blocker, basically wherever the blockers can move should be considered that zone. I know that they do some weird things sometimes where they step out further, but that's because they're like chasing a person and then they run away.
Right.
But like their general, whatever their little tether area is compared to the bank is what it should be.
So you think that like instead of it being radius from the bank, it should be radius from blockers. So technically you could have multiple. If there are 3 blockers up and they're spread out, you would have 3 different radiuses that you could have to be within. I think you're right. I think that will not be the case because of how it's worded, and it's also the most difficult way to do. It's like way too difficult to code that, more likely.
Yeah.
But I was thinking more
like...
whatever their radius is set for general blocker distance, like say that the blockers are allowed by them to be standing 10 meters out from the bank. That is the zone in which within that circle from the center of the bank that you have to be engaged to them to do it. That's what I was thinking. Not based off of the blocker, but based off of what they've coded as the safe space for the blockers themselves.
Right. Like their area that they can they can walk through. All right, so I'll be interested to see kind of what that actually is. Bungie's really good about telling us stuff, but never giving us like specifics or numbers. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, I mean, I read this as, because it says if a player is near the bank and engaging blockers. So hopefully whatever that area is somehow visible on the map. So make like the ground, instead of it being the grass is green, make it be a brown spot of grass. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to look pretty. I just need it to be functional to where I can tell what that area is that I need to be inside. If I'm rushing back to kill blockers while I'm waiting for my teammates to respawn or something, you know, I want to know how close I have to be and it not just be a guessing game. So
it'd be nice to get a little dialogue on your screen saying that you're doing that. Well, I guess you'll be able to tell your moats are not being drained. You can see on the counter.
Yeah, you don't get the womp, womp, womp. You know, like I'm sure there'll be like cues for it, but I as somebody that plays muted a lot, because my wife is watching the second TV or my kids are up moving around and watching their iPads. Like I play this game muted a lot. So sometimes it's nice to have visual cues as opposed to like sound cues. Which is also, I blame that's why I really suck at Crucible, but that's not exactly true. That's a little bit of liberty with that.
Can't blame the audio if you don't have it.
That's right. I feel like Doc, you know? It's always the audio's fault. Anything you guys want to touch on there, blocker wise?
I would have rather seen a change up to the blockers instead of the same ones. It's been a while since they changed them, but it's fine. They did change them the way they behave, so I'll live with it.
I got nothing.
All right. Moving on to ammo economy. Our goal for these changes are to make a more predictable and equal baseline of special and heavy ammo among all players. We will be watching both feedback and analytics around ammo gain and usage rates, and we'll continue to make tweaks if these aren't enough to make fair matches. Before I get into this, I do not like a lot of this stuff here. So when completing a front, so that's like a wave is usually what that's how I look at it. A front is whenever you run to one of the three areas where the enemies are going to spawn. A chest containing a small amount of special and heavy ammo spawns in the middle of the front and can be looted once by each player. It times out 20 seconds after the initial interact, so you can't dilly-dally. So,
so
I know when I read that, I didn't know if somebody doesn't touch it, like if you're in a squad and nobody interacts with it, does it sit there? Okay.
Yeah, it's supposed to sit there. Yeah, but like, let's say us three Q in the Gambit, we have a blueberry. We're like,
oh, they're grabbing it.
Fox is like, let's go bank now. It'll push us over 40 so somebody can invade. We go bank. The blueberry stays back, hits the crate. We go to bank, and on our way back to the crate, it disappears before we can get there for the ammo.
Yeah, I can already see it. That's exactly how it's going to play out. Now, here we have killing a high-value target spawns one normal heavy brick for each player. And then going on below that, during the primeval phase, ammo chests spawn in one of the fronts every 60 seconds. This replaces the regular front ammo chest, but you will still need to find the time to go grab it. So I am just, whenever I read this afternoon, I was like, what in the F are they doing here? Mm-hmm. So killing a high value target spawns one normal heavy brick for each player. It should be every player that does damage to the high value target. I mean, if I'm not even saying that it should drop heavy, but if it's going to, it should only be people that have damage. If I'm off slaying in one of the fronts, literally the opposite side of the map, I shouldn't get heavy because you guys killed the high value target. And the high value target drops, what is it, between 12 and 15 motes, assuming that they don't fall through the geometry of the floor to where you can't pick them up. Then the ammo chest in one of the fronts during the primeval phase, like, I mean, the problem with this is that Bungie, they don't tune the weapons often enough. They tune things that are broke that will affect a raid race very fast. They tune things that are broke that stops you from getting loot faster than they want you to get. They tune that really fast. But like the weapon meta changes, 4 times a year? Mm-hmm. Every season we get that?
Yeah.
So if there's something like this we had Queensbreaker or Sleeper Simulant or like this fusion rifle stuff, like how fast you can, between breach and clear, or and like those things. It's just asking for trouble because they can't update. They're allegedly not able to update the game as fast, as the player base wants it to be. So I don't know. This seems absolutely wild. Last bullet point: limited special and heavy ammo bricks to only spawn from enemies if you have finder mods equipped. Other ammo, exotics, and perks like Aeon Cult still work. So read that again. Limited special and heavy ammo bricks to only spawn from enemies if you have finder mods equipped.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is going? Who did? I try not to say this very often because as I love this game, I think the people that make this game generally try to do the best they can. But good God, do they play the game? Like, I just don't understand. I don't understand some of these changes sometimes. And this one just absolutely blows my mind. What are your guys' thoughts on it?
To me, I was already doing that anyways. Like, if I'm running, say, like a shotgun and a rocket launcher, then a primary weapon, right? I'm having both finders on. I'm having a rocket launcher and a shotgun finder just because of those extra little small bricks. They're giving us viable ways if you don't want to run finders, say like your new well build or whatever they kind of got going on, introducing a Witch Queen. You don't want to run finders. You're still going to get that chest at the end of the encounter to move on to the next one. So you probably have to pace your shots. Like, I don't know, like running Salvage or Salvo, you get 5 shots from the chest at the end of the front. So then you can take those 5 shots onto the next one. That way you can plan ahead how many shots you want to take out groups of ads and then move on to your primary weapon and then save your heavy for the invader. Heavy runs Gambit. It runs Gambit since the game came out. Taking
Since
ornaments,
Forsaken.
fallen ornaments, all that stuff. So now just make sure everybody has heavy. That way everybody's on the equal playing field saying that, well, at least I have something to go up against the other person with the busted weapon.
Yeah, essentially same thoughts as that. I never run Gambit without having finder mods for the special and the heavy weapon that I'm running. I'm an unlucky person in the first place, so I will never ever get heavy to drop at all. So having a guaranteed way to get it, as in the what was it, the high value target drops a brick for everybody, that already is a nice change. Because I've played many Gambit games where I don't get a drop a single thing of heavy ever.
So
and then having a place where I can at least get a couple shots.
Yeah.
Hooray.
So you can throw on Aeon Cults, and if you finish the high value target with them, you're getting double bricks for all your teammates.
Probably. They said it still works. Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. I mean, that could be something that could like, it would be nice if loadouts were locked, because I think back to, what's the name of the Hunter Gauntlets that goes with the 1,000 Knives throw or whatever?
Shards of Galador.
Yeah, shards. So I go back to like shards because you could like throw Aeon Cults on and then switch over to shards. Mm-hmm. Assuming that, shards isn't busted right now, but it was busted before. So we know in the future something will be busted. It would be nice if like exotics were locked or something like that. But maybe one day. Like realistically, the game mode will be thrown into the Destiny content vault before we get that far in reworking it. But it'd be nice if exotics locked up. So, the Primeval fight. So the Primeval fight, once you bank your 100 motes, your team's Primeval spawn, and it is the ultimate challenge of Gambit. It should feel like an epic boss fight and be long enough for the opposing team to get off some invades to counter strong DPS. It should have more to do than simply burning the boss as quickly as possible. and turn in place to kill envoys every once in a while. Its mechanics shouldn't be complex, but should require about as much tactical play as a high-end strike boss. Primeval health and Slayer stack bonus returned. Burning the boss after 3 rounds of envoys should be just as easy as it is now, but burning him after just 1 or 2 rounds should be significantly more work. I don't necessarily agree with the part about there should be multiple invades to counter strong DPS, because that's, those invades, man, they get really, sometimes it seems like they're really close together. I do appreciate the fact, assuming that it actually works this way, that you basically have to get Primeval Slayer times 3 before you can really kill the boss, because that does give you a little bit of time to get an invade or 2 off to maybe turn the tide if you're like barely behind. So I kind of like that. But I'm not sure that it should be a high-end strike boss. What is a high-end strike boss? What does that even mean? Does that mean like master difficulty strike?
I think you would go down one to maybe like a legend or like proving ground.
So is legend the last? Legend is like the last match made one.
That's usually the one you have to do for 100K.
Okay, gotcha. So envoys now spawn with friends out in the fronts rather than in the bank area. I kind of like this, actually. So they do have reduced health. They are no longer affected by Slayer stacks, and they have varied elemental shields. So, right now, they're all void pretty well. So, you're always going to swap over to a void, or I always swap over to a void if I'm not running a void weapon there. And killing the envoys to get Slayer stacks will require movement, dealing with envoys' protectors, and dealing with their elemental shield. Wasn't this how Gambit Prime was?
Yes.
You had to go to areas and then kill them. So I really like that. I like Gambit Prime. I can't remember the name of the map, but it's the one that has the caves to the right where you spawn, and then to the left there's like a bunch of rocks, and then straight back there's like a 2-level platform area. And you know which one I'm talking about?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't remember any names for Gambit.
Do you remember what planet it's on or anything for other people that don't know which one I'm talking about? I mean, there's only 3 maps, right? So, I mean, it can't be, it's not the one on Earth. So, and it's not the one with treadmills, it's the other one. So, with that one, it'll be nice, especially if there's envoys spawn straight back. You're going to have to do a little bit of time running over there. And if you get like the ogre, the taken ogre, and like you're trying to run back to kill those primevals, and that thing decides that it's going to aggro onto you and it's hitting you with that beam, that could be very, very interesting. So
I think it was Mars.
I like that.
It was on Mars.
I think you're right. It does. It's kind of brown. It's kind of sandy. Kind of sandy and stuff. So, Chad, do you like that as far as the primevals being in one of the 3 fronts as opposed to the bank area?
The envoys, the envoys change was one that I was like, ooh, that's neat.
Yeah, sorry, envoys.
Immediately, because I'm like, having them just in the middle, just hit them with something void after the first round of envoys, 1 shot of a fusion or a shotgun and they're just dead. So having them run away, go somewhere, spawn somewhere else, like you'll hear them spawning in, and then you'll have to look and be like, which side are they on? Which one? Because they split up, right? So it's like 2 out of the 3 spots are gonna have an envoy. I like that a lot. It's gonna break up the prime step, dragging it out, which is what they wanted to do, but it's also gonna keep people from just getting to that 3rd phase really fast and then just blowing them up.
Chad, I didn't even realize that. So 2 envoys spawn at a time. So you're saying that like one will spawn in one front and the other will spawn in another front?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So that
Man,
you
I
can't
like
just
that.
mob
That would be
towards them.
nice. That'd be real nice. I think that would be. That's gonna extend that primeval phase to where, if you get down, I think you could really make a comeback on that.
It's also a weird way for them to bring back snipers.
Yeah. Envoys put an invulnerability shield on the primeval. You must kill them both to remove it and damage the primeval, forcing your team to go out and invade. Interesting. Kind of like it. So once the envoys come out, you can't just brute force the primeval. You have to go out. Now, where I can see this being a problem is if you're on the team that sucks and you're the only one going out to kill the envoys and everybody else is you got one guy dead, one guy trying to kill the the blockers that the other team's coming over, one guy invading. You could have one person going out to try to kill these envoys. So that could really be frustrating depending on how that goes. Envoys respawn at 30% of primeval damage done. This increases by 10% every envoy respawn, and envoys stop spawning after the 5th spawn. Jared, explain that to me.
So after you get the boss to 70% health, he goes immune, and you have to go kill an envoy. And then the next, you take it down another 40%, so that gets you down to 30. And then the next round of envoys spawn. So at minimum, you have to kill 3 rounds of envoys to kill a primeval. The thing, what will happen here is like if somebody invades in between, and then shoots up the health again, so that
the envoy or the death heals primeval or whatever.
Yep. So like let's just say that third wave happens, and the boss is at say like 60-something% to invades and such. You can only damage him by 50%, so he's going to have that 16% left. So you have to go kill another round of envoys. So they are damage gating you per wave.
And last but certainly not least, the primeval servitor boss is removed since its custom shielding mechanics conflicted with the new mechanics. Thank God.
Get that meatball
The
out of here.
Malfeasance quest. What'd you say? The meatball?
Get that meatball out of here.
Yeah, that's right. Nobody ordered spaghetti. The Malfeasance quest starts on the first primeval kill. But the tuning changes above. The merge phase is significantly quicker, and the primeval phase is longer, which is what Jared mentioned, what we wanted the whole time. You should expect matches to be just about as long as they are now, but we will be watching to make sure they aren't too short or too long.
You can never have a too short gambit match.
I mean, I guess I don't know. Like trying to get the whenever you're trying to get your bounties done, have you ever had one that is like 25 melee kills that you don't get done by the end of your 3rd game, so you got to play the 4th game?
Well,
I mean, they're changing that.
We got good
They're
news
changing
for
that, dude.
Well. Almost like that was planned, huh? As we said above, a good invader should be able to turn the tide of a match, but a good invader should be no more important than any other equally skilled team member. We don't want a single good invader to completely dominate the outcome of the match, and they certainly are able to do that right now. However, we still want a good invader to be able to delay a strong PvE team from finishing off the primeval. Level advantage is now disabled for invader PvP. It has actually been like this since the start of Beyond Light. Surprise. I thought that was how it was already. Did you guys know that it wasn't that way?
I know they talked about it at one point, and I thought they flip flop back away, and like I'm at the point I didn't ever really care. I was at the point like I'm playing 3 gambit matches and I'm out. Like I feel, but yeah.
Just pretend that Jared repeated himself in my voice.
One of the moat phase invasions has now been removed. Invasions now trigger at 40 and 80 moat thresholds. This is a very big change.
One of the ones we've been
Primeval
saying.
phase invasions are unchanged. So now instead of invades at 25, 50, and 75, you're at 40 and 80. The most important part of this is that we are not at 25, because now it's going to take, at least 2 full fronts before you get 40 moats, if not maybe even the start of the third.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you like deposit and then drain moats, obviously that's the wild card there. But it gives you time to not get invaded as you're holding 15 moats running back to the bank to deposit.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're playing with blueberries, that will be nice. And they will be unable to stack invades because invasions can no longer be saved up. Use it or lose it, pal. So we've all been there to where the other team gets their primeval. You have the teammate on your team that's already lost 30 or 45 moats. And then, luckily for you, the other team gets 3 invades off the rip because they never invaded at 25, 50, or 75.
Mm-hmm.
No longer the case. So, I was very happy when I saw this. What about you guys?
Just the power that Invader's going down a bit, and it's been the most dominant force in Gambit since it came out. So it's hopefully it makes this game a little bit more enjoyable.
Yep, and pushing back the invade was something I've been spouting for a long time, and lessening the amount of invades is definitely something that is helpful. So pushing an invade to 40 and then making it so if you don't use it, you lose it, will stop that major snowball, because it's only really bad, like when Ryan said, when they get a primeval and then they invade you multiple times in a row. It's like that's when you know you're not even touching 20 moats in the bank. You're just gonna lose, and that's not fun. It's not.
Now, you think those are crazy changes? Listen to this right here. The invader no longer can see how many moats enemy players are carrying, and player nameplates fade out when the invader is aiming down their sights. You can still see players through the walls, just not while you are engaging your rocket tracking or using your sniper zoom. So, how many times, and listen, when I invade, like if I'm going to be the designated invader, I'm running Eyes of Tomorrow, I'm running a sniper, and I'm running like an SMG, because they just have nutty range on mouse and keyboard and do pretty good damage. Or like hand cannons, I'd never really used a lot if I was invading, because if I used the SMG, at least I could still be helpful in the the PvE portion of Gambit. Now, Jared, since you are typically the invader, I know that your loadout is something similar. How many times have you sat ADS with a sniper waiting on the dummy that has the 15 on his nameplate to run across the big open door for you to shoot him right in the face?
Yeah, that's the only thing to do. It's like, oh, there's
That's
two guys with 15, the other 2 with 0. Those other 2 with 0 could just be right there in front of me, and I'm not even thinking about killing them. I'm only scoping on that guy with 15.
Exactly. So this is huge. This is especially so. Basically, they get 2 invasions instead of 3. If they don't use it, it's gone, and it handicaps what the invader was, that or what we're used to the invader being. So this is they are really being serious about making the invader a less percentage of the chance of the victory. If you have a good invader right now, you win. or you are heavily advantaged to win. They are really being serious when they're saying that they're trying to move away from that. So here, excuse me, we found a bug with how the primeval heal effect was being applied, which, depending on the sequence and timing of kills, would heal the primeval for somewhere between 5% and 35%. We fixed it, and now invader kills heal the primeval for exactly 27% every time. That sounds like a lot, but is actually less than the optimal amount prior. We will be watching feedback and analytics very closely on this one, and we will retune as necessary. So, 27% did sound a little heavy. Did sound a little heavy-handed, in my opinion, when I heard it, because it's not necessarily hard currently to go get like an army of one, which is where you kill all 4 invaders when you go over during the damage phase, because everybody has to be within like a certain distance of the boss, because right now snipers aren't in a place to where you're running snipers to do damage. So everybody's kind of, I don't know, 20 to 30 meters away from the boss, using their fusion rifles, using their linear fusion rifles. And if you go over with a rocket launcher, you can take out the whole team without too much. And if you kill all 4, 27 times 4 is over 100%. So that's 108% to be exact. So what's going to happen there? It's going to fully heal the primeval. And then we already talked about how, once that happens, you have the envoys that are going to come back. And once the envoys are there, they're spread out. So the way I see it, invaders are going to be way less useful in the collecting modes and depositing modes portion of Gambit, but they're going to be way more important in the primeval phase of Gambit. So is there anything I missed that you guys want to touch on that?
The only thing that was a question to me about the percent healing, I'm guessing that's percent of the normal health of him, not the health bar where it's at. Like, say he has 2 million health and he's at 1 million. He's healing 27% of the 2 million possible health, not the 1 million health that he has.
Yeah, it's typically how a heal would work. It's a percentage based off of your total.
Okay. So if that's the case, obviously that's a lot less dramatic than what it is. I just assumed because they noticed. I just wasn't sure because they said that at 3 stacks of that Primeval Slayer, it was still as quick to kill it now, and it only goes up to ×5. And at ×5, you can kill it with 4 auto rifles pretty fast, Yeah. So I guess we'll know when it gets here.
So I'm just quickly looking at the math of the kill, the Primeval. So you're gonna have to do it in the 3rd phase, no matter what. You can't 2-phase it. So by the 3rd phase is whenever you can do 50% of the damage. So if you're being super optimal, when you go to the end of that 3rd phase, you want to have his health below 50% in order to complete the primeval damage in the 3rd phase.
Right. And the best part about this is you're gonna have to be a lot more in tune with your fire team to be able to kill it as quick now. So I think overall they made good changes. Some of them I'm like, what are you guys doing? Mostly around the ammo portion. But the rest of it I think is going to be interesting. I don't have a whole lot of negative to say.
There's always going to be cheese in Gambit. There's no way they can get around it unless they ever do set loadouts.
Exactly. That's the only way to prevent it is you queue in as a role. Each role has somewhere between 5 and 10 set loadouts, and you can choose from those loadouts and those loadouts only. That's the only way to make it. But Gambit's not like a in-game competitive mode.
No.
So it doesn't. That's why it's not a big deal. So for better or for worse, it's just not what it is. I wish that there was a version of it that was, but in order to get to that point, they have to tweak what we have. So, somebody that is very hopeful and not as cynical as I am believes that this will get us a step closer to that. I think that this is probably just delaying. They'll do this for a year or two just to be able to hang on to the game mode, but I don't expect to see a giant increase of Gambit players based upon what we got out of this TWAB so far.
Yeah, I think the biggest change is what we were about to talk about.
Yep. So rewards. So, Jared, let's talk about bottom dollar. So okay. So let's just how many. I'm sure you don't have this directly off the top of your head. You may though. How many perk 3 and perk 4 things do we have of bottom dollar? Like how many things are in each slot there?
12 in each slot. 12 or 14 in each
Right.
slot.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's 12. So, with that, and then how many times did you see a bottom dollar in the 9 games that you played? Well, let's be honest. You played 9 games a week until you got to your pinnacle cap, and then at that point, did you play it at all other than to do some bounties to stack?
I didn't stack Gambit bounties, so.
Jesus.
Yeah, you might. They did have some little buffs here and there throughout the last year, but I would say at its worst, there's people who went Gambit resets without getting the bottom dollar. I was never that bad. I think you might get maybe one a week, 1 every 10 games. Sounds about where it was.
Right. Yeah. So Gambit is the second of the core rituals, Trials of Osiris being the first, to get comprehensive engram focusing options. Now, you can focus the Gambit engram into either Gambit armor or Gambit weapons for 10,000 glimmer and 50 legendary shards. Gambit weapons include Crowd Pleaser, Bottom Dollar, Trinary System, Borrowed Time, and Servant Leader. Brand new Gambit weapons are drop only for a single season and then available for focusing. We expect to expand Drifter's focusing options further during upcoming seasons. Why? Why are the new weapons drop only?
So,
we're so close. They were close to it, but why?
The biggest thing with PvP games and having peer-to-peer servers, population solves everything. So they need people in the playlist grinding it out for that new weapon. That is the only reason people play Gambit is for the new weapon.
Chad, you've been quiet. How many bottom dollars did you get?
I've been quiet on purpose. The answer to that is 2.
Right. I knew because I didn't see a lot of them, and I knew if I didn't see a lot of them, you probably saw less than 5. So now, other Drifter changes. Bygones, Trust, and Bad Omens have been removed from the vendor. Everybody pour one out for those 3. I'm going to be honest with you, 3 weapons that I used a lot during the year of the Forsaken. I never got a really good roll on Bygones, unfortunately. That was the one that just always eluded me. I had the other, they're calling it, this Growler. I've had too much of the Growler to be able to think of the one. What was the other 4-shot burst pulse rifle that year?
The Black Armory
Is it
one?
kinetic? No, not that one. No, don't worry about it. But Trust was what I used to get Luna's Howl, because I was never good enough to get the Not Forgotten. So Luna's Howl was the best I could get, and Trust was what I used because it was a solar hand cannon.
Mm-hmm.
At Bad Omens, it had tracking cluster, so it was a rocket launcher, which is was very good for DPS at different times of the game stage. So those three weapons, I have fond memories of all three of those weapons. So pour one out for them. In match drops, there is a Gambit memento for weapon crafting that can drop after any match. I wonder what the drop rate on that is as a sidebar. And older Gambit shaders now have a small chance of dropping at the end of each match. Well, I don't really care about those because I've already got them. So the Gambit memento, let's be honest, is going to be like a keychain that hangs off your weapon that is like the Gambit snake logo, right? Do you guys expect anything more than that?
If they want to blow all minds, they haven't really I don't think I've seen it yet. They might have shared a screenshot and I just missed it. If it applies like a taken effect to your weapon because it's Gambit.
Ooh, that'd be dope.
That would get people really excited. But I don't expect that from them.
It would almost be more of an ornament than a memento, right?
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah.
But we don't know what a memento is, so that's not fair because we don't know.
Yep.
I mean, they had the Obsidian Accelerator in Black Armory, so we already know they can create that slot, or they have that ability.
Oh man, I forgot about that. That was the thing that made like the weapon shimmery or whatever, right?
Yep.
All right. Primeval Servitor cosmetic drops can now drop at the end of any match. The Furtive Shell Ghost can now drop at the end of any match. Was there like a ship, a shell, and then like the part for the malfeasance thing or whatever? Is that what the three drops were that could come from the Primeval Servitor?
Yeah.
And you needed that in order, or was it ship sparrow shell that you needed for the to get the badge?
That was so long ago.
Nobody's sure.
I just don't remember.
Badge.
I know, man. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Chad. Yeah, that's been like 3 years ago or something now at this point. So 3.5 years ago. So yes, you can expect more rituals to get this treatment throughout the year. This is being like the engram focusing and that. But we do not currently have any specific dates to share just yet. Stay tuned. So we know Trials is already this way. We know Gambit's coming next season. Let's just let's think here. I think the most likely after that season would be Iron Banner.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, Strikes would be the one after that. Do you guys think that's the likely order, or do you have another idea?
I mean, I think
I guess
the other
like
one is Shaxx, right?
Right. I think he'll be last because we already have Trials. It'd be weird to do PvP ones close together. I feel like they would bookend with the PvP and then put the other ones in the middle.
Last time we got Gambit bounties, and then some labs, right?
The future and Gambit labs. There are a few things eagle-eyed readers might notice are missing from the above. Don't fret, we have a timeline for future changes. The daily Gambit bounty objectives are generally fine, but some of the repeatable bounties have some onerous, that's the second time we've got that word in this TWAB, completion requirements. We are taking a pass on these, though they won't all come at once. Sometime this season, we will be adjusting the completion amounts of most Gambit repeatable bounties. Weapon kills drop from 25 to 15. Melee and grenade kills drop from 25 to 5. That's substantial. And super kills from 15 to 10, which if you spec out for like the super kills one, going from 15 to 10 is not much. As somebody that plays Warlock, if you go Arc and go there, you can get 15 in one super if you play it outright. Weapon kills, most of the time I can get those in one game unless it's one that requires special ammo, and then that time it can take 2 or maybe just at the start of the third. In season 17, we will be making additional tuning changes as well as adding 3 new bounties. Throughout the year, we will also be adding bounties specific to Light 3.0 updates. Not really much there. Basically, the bounties are going to be easier, and taking them down to where you can definitely get. It sounds like the goal is whatever the amount of the pinnacle drop requires, which we know currently is 3 gambit matches. They want to make it to where you can do the 8 required bounties, which give you the powerful reward in the amount of time it takes to do the pinnacle reward, or 3 matches. Is that kind of what you guys are getting out of this as well?
Yeah, I think so.
Like, need to do 8 bounties in 3 games?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much the same thought.
And they also kind of nerfed the timers on melee grenade and super regen, so.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that. So maybe, yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. If you're unlucky, maybe it takes 4 games instead of 3. This is something I thought was interesting. I know, Chad, you had kind of mentioned it in our group chat as well. Gambit Labs Invasion Edition. We also have a couple of Gambit Labs that play with some of the core invasion concepts. These will run for 1 week each and will take over the base Gambit. This lab's variation plays around with who gets to benefit from triggered invasions. During moat phase, instead of opening your own invasion portal at 40 and 80 moats, you instead open your opponent's invasion portal. We expect this to completely disrupt the accepted meta for how and when to deposit and invade. We're looking forward to seeing the clever strategies and counter strategies you will develop. This sounds like awesome. So, do you guys remember there was I want to say it was for Dredgen, but it might have just been just like a Gambit Triumph, to where you had to deposit like 60 moats like at the same time, or within like 2 seconds of each other or something.
Yeah.
So in between 40 and 80 is obviously only 40 moats. So if you are at, like, let's say you're at 35 moats deposited, and you stack each person with 15 moats, and you all deposit at the same time, would you bypass that first invade and just they only get 1 invade instead of 2?
I didn't thought it that way. I guess so. They would only get 1 because the other one's bypassed. Because you said you use it or lose it. So let's say come out like right before this weekend happens and dives a little more into the details. Maybe they do get 2 invades or something.
That was kind of where my mind went. The next one is Moat Thief. Fundamentally, the original concept of the invader was Guardian as taken terror. Fundamentally, the original concept of the invader was Guardian as taken terror, overpowered and dangerous. Something new to have to fight. While that is very compelling, we don't believe it is the only compelling invader fantasy. We believe that Sneaky Moat Thief is worth exploring too. Maybe there are more? Normal moat drain from having 2 blockers is disabled. Instead, every second the invader is invading, 1 moat drains directly from your bank to the invader's bank. This is cool because it kind of so you know how right now, let's be honest, we haven't really teamed up for Gambit Night since we did Gambling Corner and had to. But we've all had to play some Gambit. And whenever the invader comes, how many times is it the team that's getting invaded is running and hiding in the back of spawn? You know what I mean? This flips it on the end to where it's in the invader's interest to evade and hide from the team that's trying to collect moats. So it kind of literally turns that entire thing on its head. And I think this sounds really fun. It reminds me of like some custom games from like the old Halo days. That's kind of how I feel this would work out. So I would be excited for both of those. I think both of those are really cool. Which do you guys prefer between those two? Which do you think is the most intriguing to you?
Go ahead, Chad.
Why me? I'm just happy that Gambit's getting labs in general. Like, just mess with the mode, do all kinds of weirdness. Oops, all curse thrall. I don't know. Like, just do all kinds of nonsense. I mean, having the invader controlled by the other side definitely makes it interesting. Because you instead of being like, hey, bank so I can invade, it's hey, bank so that we can watch for invade. Because you're in control of watching that. Because there are times where you're just in it to win it, and all of a sudden you're getting invaded, and you're like, shoot, I knew that was coming up, but I wasn't paying attention. And then all of a sudden you get hit by an ice. But knowing that it's coming, being more in control of it versus knowing is interesting to me. But if Bungie's listening, can you do an oops all curse thrall, or like a oops it's nighttime and it's only regular thrall? Like, that'd be fun.
Oops, all berries.
Like, just basically make the Crota beginning zone. It's just the entire map. There's no sun. It's dark and there's thrall everywhere. I'd have a fun time.
Yeah, the hide and seek thing, turn the opposite roles would be a lot of fun. And I'm just thinking, like, is a strat go over there with a Titan bubble and to just sit in the bubble, or is it like Invis Hunter, Warlock stuff? Like, just go over and just post up, and then, like, dare people to run at you with buffs and overshields and all that stuff.
Yeah, man. I think I think the play would be the first invade. You'd want like the slippery hunter that can go invisible with Void 3.0.
Mm-hmm.
The second invade, you're gonna want the bubble because people are gonna be more likely to use their super to destroy your bubble in order to get you to stop draining modes. And if you can get their super out, then they're not gonna have their super for the primeval.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the strategy that will come out of that. But who knows, man? That's the best part about these Bungie games is it gets all these smart people doing really smart stuff and breaking things down and figuring out like what's optimal and all that. So that's one of my favorite things about this community. So I'll be very interested to see where that goes. All right. Is that everything on Gambit?
Yeah.
Is it Jared's time to take the TWAB over now?
Yes, that is it.
Jared,
On
your
Gambit.
job's exhausting.
I was happy to pass it on. And I know that you're super excited to talk about Gambit. We limit the Gambit talk on this podcast as much as possible. You always try to sneak it in there when you can.
Every once in a while, you know.
So just a little quick update what Trials has in store for us in Season 16. We will have Capture Zone weekends and freelance weekends. There will be a 7-map rotation. That's like a scheduled per weekend. And then also we'll be able to vote on one of the 7 maps will be. So watch. It probably will come in one of those emails, or they'll put it out on Twitter or on a TWAB for when it's time to go vote. And then also a depth reward changes coming in Season 17.
Hopefully me and Chad get the emails to be able to vote this time.
Yep.
We got some final patch notes for Witch Queen. So the first thing is Ritual rewards. Starting in Witch Queen, Ritual playlist rewards will be updated to grant Ritual specific gear, weapons, mods, and armor, and no longer be granting rewards from the world loot pool. Crucible will get like Crucible gear, Vanguard, Gambit, and then Engram focusing, of course, is only with Satan Drifter in Season 16. World engrams will continue to be granted at major rank ups for the ritual vendors. So like, if I remember, like, how had you go through them? Like, I think the first major rank is like rank 5 maybe when you go through, and you get like a prime engram that you can take to Rahul from the vendors. and I started like, why I'm reading this is like that's going to be could be anything that's in the world, but like the Pacific, the engrams that you can get, like usually you can stack up a whole bunch of them from shacks or whatever. You're playing like a lot of PvP. That's just going to be Crucible stuff. Then also we're getting a new update to the vendor armor. There's a cool picture in the TWAB of that. I think the Hunter looks pretty cool. The Titan looks pretty legit. I think the shader on the Warlock, that is the Vanguard, is throwing it off a lot. It might end up looking better with a different shader on there. You know me, I'm all about the fashion.
Hey, listen, I have to admit, I saw the what the Eververse thing was going to be whenever the season drops, and I did spend $50 in silver earlier today. So,
yep.
I'm sorry. I said after they sold to Bungie, I was not going to buy any more silver, but I'm weak.
Yep.
So, it's just how it goes. But the Hunter armor looked dope. So, if you guys haven't seen it yet, you should look it up.
We are getting 2 Crucible maps back. We're getting Eternity and Vostok at the start of Witch Queen, it looks like. So Vostok is, some longer sight lines. That's where like the mountains in the background of the Chad, help me out.
Was that snow map?
Yeah, it's a snow map.
Oh jeez. Jeez. Why that one?
Because you have long sight lines. You have encounters that you're facing off with people. That's not just 25.
Was
30
Eternity?
meters.
Was Eternity that god awful Trials of the Nine map?
Yeah, it was the Trials of the Nine map.
You hated these maps? I like these maps.
Of course you did. Just think about DMT raining down on your skull in these maps, and let's think about how much you're gonna like them.
It's no different than any other game right now. So I see no difference. Foxy talked about Eververse. There's absolutely no changes coming to Eververse. It is operating as intended. So
thank God it's perfect as it is. No changes. No changes I would make whatsoever.
Yeah. So Fox mentioned the picture he's seen. So it's like the Eververse armor for season 16 is really leaning into the void. So there's a lot of void flare and kind of fire coming out from different parts of the armor. They've said on social media, a couple of people from Bungie, is that those will be void no matter what shader you put on, but the other parts of the armor will take the shader.
Let's be honest, the Warlock was the worst of them, and that's rare. But I thought the Warlock was the ugliest of the 3.
Sometimes these pictures they get the angle kind of off, and then the shading they go on, it's just it turns out being the exact opposite in game. So maybe whenever you go to inspect it, whenever you're loaded in there with all that silver, maybe it's kind of burning a hole in your pocket and you're buying it anyway.
So much silver, man. Stupid. Because I've got I'll be honest with you, I got $40 left over from this season. So we have a lot of silver rolling in here to the Witch Queen.
All right, so we got some season pass changes. So high stat seasonal armor is coming back. They've took it away the last 2 seasons. It's finally coming back. It's going to be in ranks from 57 to 87. Thank God. These season passes really went downhill the past 2 seasons where they took the armor away. Some of the weapons, it seems like it's just not what it used to be. Legendary engrams.
Got that right, Jared.
Are now getting replaced with focused Umbral engrams. These engrams will be a tier 2, and they will be focused on legs, armor, chest, class item, and a head item. So that means 1 of each slot for your armor. They're also going to increase the change of the bonuses a little bit about doing ritual activities and getting seasonal weapon and armor drops. So now you're just going to have 2 bonuses instead of the 6 that was spread out. So it's just now in this 2. And then the first bonus is a smaller chance to receive the weapons from the ritual activity. The second bonus is a much bigger chance of getting the weapons. As I remember, like this last season pass, the last one you got was like at level 92. So you're almost done with the season pass at that point whenever you get that last bonus. But usually you can focus engrams pretty easily to get those ritual weapons that you're not really depending on the drops that come from the end activities. It's just a nice little bonus that goes on at the end. There's no longer be an emblem in the season pass. It's now going to be a sparrow. And then many other rewards have been shifted here or there with a glimmer and legendary shards to make room for the high stat armor. All right, guys, we're going to have to pour another one out here to throw away. So finally, Bungie's done. They want no more AFK farming, getting the bounties done, getting your exotic catalyst done. None of that. No more in the throwaway. Go do it somewhere else.
R.I.P. IP.
They have fixed the issue where Shadow Thrall and the Shadow Throne were unintentionally granting investment rewards such as Glimmer, Engrams, and XP. So, straight up, no more. Another one here. This is the last one. It kind of came out of left field. Didn't really expect this to be touched on. Is the boss stomp mechanic, and they have adjusted the physics of the knockback of the boss stomps. They got a wheel like crossed out, but it says this should result in fewer deaths from being knocked into objects from boss stomp. So to me, I guess they just reduced the velocity of the way how fast you are getting shoved away from the boss.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Exactly. Next here we have Steel Series Destiny Collection. It's a mouse pad, a mouse, and a headset. It's got the Bungie tricorn on it. The mouse pad has some LEDs that go around the outside. I looked at the mouse pad because I was interested in it. It's $70. I was like, oof, that's a lot, because it's for $50 more bucks I get the wireless charging for my Logitech mouse. So I'm passing on this, but this stuff looks really cool. So if you're all about getting that matching Bungie stuff, it's there for you.
I thought the headset looked cool.
Yeah,
myself, but it's hard to go away from the Sennheiser's open backs after having them. I'm sure Chad can agree with that. So it's hard to go back to like a gaming headset after having these. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to pass. But I do remember, didn't Razer have the initial Destiny 2 stuff? Didn't they have like a mouse and maybe a keyboard and headset whenever Destiny 2 Vanilla launched? I think they had it. But that
Yes,
mouse was awful pretty.
I have the keyboard. It's pretty.
You have the keyboard? I didn't know that.
I do have the keyboard, yeah.
you don't get any use.
I
That's
didn't
why
even
it's so
know that.
pretty.
I didn't even know
It
that.
does.
I didn't.
I Google stuff with it.
I didn't even know that you had a keyboard plugged into your computer. So I'm just.
No, it just uses an eye tracker, and then I have a keyboard on the screen, so I just look at what I need to type.
Next, we have Long Live the Queen. We have a special Twitch bounty emblem that you can go get starting on February 22nd at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's noon Eastern. That is when Witch Queen is supposed to drop, and you should be able to load in. So as everybody will be in Desta-Q at that time, you can log on to Twitch, gift 2 subs, and get a pretty cool emblem. If that's what
Let's
you're
do
about.
let's do like a lottery. Let's do a lottery thing real fast. So, who is the biggest streamer that you think will get in first? I personally am going to say Grenader Jake.
Oh.
There's this guy. He doesn't stream very much. Chidokuro, I think was how it was pronounced, but I think he'll get in pretty quick.
I was gonna think somebody like Glad or Dado's getting in first.
Yeah, Dado Wado.
Yeah.
Come be my daddy, Dado Wado.
Beep 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 beep.
And last thing here, just claim any Bungie rewards that you have left out on your Bungie account, as most of them will expire. If not all of them will expire at the end of the season. So if there's anything that you wanted to get ordered, or claim an emblem, or even like you could have like an exotic engram upgrade modules, legendary shards, all that stuff is sometimes there to go grab if you haven't grabbed those yet. And that is it for the TWAB.
I think we're right to the war with our Chronicler Chatocero, correct? We're
I don't know.
running long.
It usually gets
We're already
announced by a specific guy.
I know, that's why I jumped in, and we're already at an hour 41 because I have a big mouth. So I apologize to everybody.
Yeah, I was gonna have some fun here, but we're dragging long, so I'm gonna cut it all to one paragraph that I think is gonna have enough chatter about it. And I'm just gonna read it because it's I'm gonna talk about a little bit of what's coming out of the Ikora journal from the collector's edition, which after reading it is something that I actually want to get my hands on physically because it's sweet. But this paragraph started off a lot of questions, and it's really great leading into what's going on because Destiny, I think it's the Instagram has the radio broadcast that went out, and they were talking about Imaru, which he later clarified is the first ghost, Imaru. Whether that means the first ghost or the first hive ghost, it hasn't been clarified that way. But in the journal, one of the first entries, someone's talking to Ikora, giving her just messages. The one of the 10th message that they sent to her says this: I noticed one common thread among these unpaired ghosts. They really like the books of sorrow. Ever since Eris deciphered the calcified fragments, Guardians have been fascinated by the history of the Hive, but these ghosts, I don't think it's fascination. I think it's pity. They see the Hive as an exploited underclass, for goodness sake, victims of a cosmic parasite that tricked the poor Krill into eternal slavery. No wonder they haven't found their Guardians. They don't want to help anyone kill the Hive. But this is troubling, isn't it? Because if ghosts can decide that they have moral qualms with raising Guardians, and if they can convince other ghosts to follow suit, we're going to need a program of counter-persuasion. We'll have to start keeping an eye on the morale and loyalty of our own ghosts. This way lies a terrible future. So this is a note or message from one of Ikora's hidden, and it's leading into something that's been happening apparently for a long time, since the Books of Sorrow, that ghosts were starting to see from that point that Hive were pitiful beings that were being pulled around by the worms, which, I mean, they were. The three sisters decided to gain power, and with that, they created a entirely new species of people beholden to this parasite. A lot of the Hive didn't have that choice, which is, that's just the way it was for them, and they lived that way. But seeing how ghosts choose their guardian, and these ghosts choose not to have a guardian, but instead feel empathy for these beings, is not a good thing. We thought of them as our ghosts, our little lights, but apparently they can do whatever they want.
That's weird to think about. There's ghosts floating around that hasn't found a guardian yet, and they're just don't want to go look for it anymore.
Yeah,
that's kind of.
Yeah, I guess they read the Books of Sorrow and were like, you know what? I'm not going to help these humans kill these beings. It's sad.
All right. Well, I think it's time to move on to the mailbag. This might be the shortest lore ever, but
Oh yeah.
I think we look. This is the Gambit episode. It is what it is.
Yeah, thoughts and prayers to Gambit, which will last exactly one more year before it's headed to the Destiny content vault. So
Ryan, the Gambit corner ended.
yeah.
All right. First question of the mailbag. Does the Titan's weapon of light nerf have Titans in a bad spot for in-game PvE? So there was a few of the Bungie devs was on the Destiny community podcast last week, and Kevin Giannis said that he believes that weapons of light is now 25% damage bonus, and that is the same as a Well of Radiance. And Eddie Fallout was like, oof, that is not what the community's really wanting to hear, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Fallout goes, well, so why would you ever choose Bubble over Well of Radiance? I think that was like his exact wording.
So Titans still have a lot of survivability with Void 3.0, in my opinion. But, as our Titan here, Chad, how are you feeling with that news?
I mean, I don't like it, but for us, for GMs, typically we're Ursus.
Mm-hmm.
Ursus is going to be the main GM support. For raids, yes, dipping in that bubble, popping in the well so that you're safe. You weren't using the well for damage increases. You're using it for safety. I mean, depending on the boss, it'll be like, okay, I guess I'll Thunder Crash then. And then, or I'll use a melting point to increase some damage. I'll cause a debuff too, so that we have the buff from the well and a debuff from something else.
Yeah.
It'll give us more options, but as far as like GM content, I wasn't really using bubble in the first place.
Yeah.
I was doing banner shield. I am very sad. It sucks, but it's like in the first place, you're only putting that bubble there so you can dip in and out of it.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that at all, because I'm like, a well is just a better bubble with less of a damage increase, because you can shoot while you're in it.
Now,
and
this is only said on a podcast,
like, okay.
right? They never said it in a TWAB. They never said it in any other place except for that podcast. So maybe that's something they talked about in his last meeting and never they implemented, or who knows. But I guess we'll have to see in Witch Queen if this.
We'll see the patch notes.
Yep.
Listen, if they said it in that podcast, that's definitely what it's going to be, because they had two people on there. They had Yanes, another fella, and then they had a guy that wasn't even on camera that was looking at like the actual notes, and he was basically their stat boy, more or less, for that episode. I got to listen to it over the last 2 days while driving at work, the Void 3.0 episode there. So, gonna be honest with you, I'm a warlock. It should make me happy because it just increases the fact that the warlocks are the master race. But I really feel like Bubble should do more percentage. It should give you a bigger buff to damage than Well does, because Well has the bonus of giving you healing as well inside of that, and you can shoot out of it, whereas the Bubble, you can't shoot out of the bubble. So in my opinion, the bubble should give you an increased damage, especially if the well gives you health. So I think Titans kind of got screwed on this one, and you won't hear me say that a whole lot. But I think they either need to they need to do something with the bubble, or they need to decrease the well damage in order just to make things fair. Just to make it to where warlocks aren't obviously the preferred class of the. I feel like once what was it, Noseworthy, and once the people that were over Destiny 2 moved over to like Destiny 2 plus media plus this plus that, and we have new people that are just over the game. I feel like since then, they must be warlocks, because warlocks have got much favorable over the hunters and the Titans, and then the hunters especially. So that's just kind of how I feel, and that's coming from a warlock. I'm a warlock, so like I hate to admit it. If I wanted to drink this entire growler in this podcast, I probably wouldn't admit it. But let's just be honest with each other. Warlocks are in the best space at the moment.
I mean, this kind of just backs up with the Destiny stats everybody's been putting out. If you follow any of the Bungie devs, like majority of them are like the Warlock mains. So
Yeah. Master race, baby.
all right,
Baby.
question 2. How long do you expect the first playthrough of the Legendary campaign to take?
For me,
So are we gonna
2
be able to
hours.
play? Are all three of us gonna be able to team up on Tuesday? What's everybody's Tuesday looking like?
Nah,
I'm gonna be right here.
I
I'm gonna
won't.
make breakfast and I'm gonna be right here.
Yeah, I won't be on until late Tuesday night.
Yeah,
All right, Jared, are you off
we'll
at
be
all
able to smash him through
next
that
week?
real fast.
Yeah, I'm off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Okay, so I work Monday, Tuesday, but Tuesday I've already told my 5 closest home health patients that I'm choosing them for Tuesday visits next week. So my plan is to be home as close to 12, which is like reset time in my time zone, as possible. So I know there's going to be a queue. I'm going to be at the end of that queue. Chad has terrible luck, so I'll probably still get in before he does. So that's kind of I expect Tuesday afternoon by 2:00. I fully expect to have a Giovanni's pizza in my belly and rolling into the Witch Queen, and my children will be at grandma's where they're going to spend most of next week while my wife works night shift, and I'm going to be streaming on twitch.tv/not Ryan Fox. I think Chad's going to have the YouTube rolling for him. So come check us out and watch us play and watch us make all the mistakes. That way we can fill you guys in on what not to do. So go from there.
Yeah, I expect it. My first playthrough solo is probably 8 to 10 hours, I think, and then the times after that would be much faster after you figure out
I think
everything.
to actually answer the question, which I did not do, I apologize. I think that Chad and I will obviously, if I get in before Chad, I'm going to like go to the tower, check out all of that stuff, check out all the stuff in the store. I'm going to wait for Chad to get in before I like run any mission that isn't automatically started upon getting in the queue. Chad, I expect will probably do the same thing, maybe run a mission or two and then help me through, catch us up, and then it'll be me and him rolling through. So I think it will take both of us, seeing as how we've ran a lot of GMs, I think 6 to 8 hours to get through the campaign on that. The only caveat being if like 3/4 of the way through or before like the final 2 missions or something, they have some giant jump in level that you have to go through and like run Lake of Shadows over and over and over to try to get drops or something for.
All right, question 3. Will Xavier Wrath appear in Witch Queen, or is it just a looming presence? Chad, but I think you're probably the best to consult on this.
So we know that Witch Queen is the expansion, and we don't know what the season is. We know it's Season of the Risen, right? So it's Cabal. Who's Cabal's biggest enemy? Currently, it's Xivu. Xivu is the destroyer of their world. I understand that Keitel is gonna very much want us to kill Savathun, but her biggest, the person that's on her list is Xivu. So I think very very similarly to how Savathun was kind of behind the scenes last year, I think Xivu is gonna be still lingering around doing stuff, sending things around. There's gonna be some hive with her crests and armor patterns on them. But I don't think Xivu Wrath herself will appear, at least not until like the end of the year if she does at all. But I don't think it'll be right off the rip next season. I think they're gonna hold off on that one for a while.
All right, what Chad said.
That's what I was gonna say to you.
All right, question 4. What do you have planned for next week? I guess, Fox, you kind of already touched on this, right?
Yeah, he touched it real good.
Planned. Yeah, I did. What do I have planned for next week? So, personally, I am scheduled to work Monday and Tuesday. I'm off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I know that Kentucky will play a couple games in there, so I will be watching my Wildcats play. Other than that, uh, my wife works night shift and my kids will be at grandma's. So, pretty wide open. I'll be streaming. I will be trying to link up with you guys as much as possible to get through this, trying to power level. Most of that has kind of been taken care of, knowing that once we complete that legendary campaign, we're going to get that 1520 armor, which takes a lot of that really crappy part of the grind away. And so I guess what I'm really confused about, to be honest, so we know that with the Void 3.0, the artifacts and those things, the fragments and the aspects, we're going to have those unlocked based upon that TWAB. So we're not going to have any of those god awful quests to where you have to get like do stuff in strikes or crucible or gambit, depending upon what you choose. So we should have those open right away. If not right away, maybe at the end of the campaign, maybe. I mean, we don't really know for sure, but the way it's worded in that is that we're gonna have that off the bat, and then once we get that campaign finished up, we're gonna crank out all those powerfuls, and then do the pinnacles after that, and then go through each character. So I mean, we're going to play through that campaign 3 times, but I mean, I don't know. Last time with the Beyond Light, the big grind was getting those aspects and fragments from the stasis. That's what I remember being like oh God, I hate myself. Like cranking out all 3 of those in the first week. So I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think the weapon crafting and getting the weapons with I forgot the name of it now, but when it has like the red border around it.
The deep sight resonance,
yeah.
I want to say is what it's called.
That's going to be the grind. Is whenever you get one of those weapons.
Yeah, instead of grinding out the stasis stuff, and that was going to be my thought. Our characters are going to be done very quickly, and most of my week is going to be focusing on the weapons that I want to grind out. I'm very much when I'm going through a story or going through stuff, grabbing a weapon and just using it. I don't like infuse stuff until I hit like a good powerful cap. I'll just, there's another gun. Grab it. It's mine now. So if I see one with the resonance, that's a gun that I actually want to get the resonance on. Oh, you bet I'm gonna be holding on to that and like trying to efficiently grind out everything I can during all this stuff.
Whenever you get a gun with the resonance, though, that resonance is not just for that gun; it's for the currency of the Enclave.
Yeah, but like if it has the resonance I want, like a rampage resonance or whatever it is, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna use that gun until I get it.
Yeah. So as somebody that's really studied that TWAB, the way it's worded in there is, you will once you have a gun that has the deep sight resonance, you will have an objective that's basically like use the gun for X amount of kills or something, and then you're able to extract that to use at the Enclave, and the Enclave is where you do the weapon crafting. The way it reads is once you extract it, you have it, but I'm not sure. What we don't know is how that's going to be time gated, because Bungie's not going to give us everything week 1. So we don't know if the season of the Risen is going to be, maybe we don't get rapid hit or outlaw. Maybe we get feeding frenzy instead of rapid hit or outlaw. So maybe there's only like 4 or 5 that we're able to extract for the season. And then once we get all those extracted by getting maybe 2,000 kills or something crazy with the weapon, we'll extract those and they will be added to our bank that we will be able to use on weapons in the Enclave. That's kind of how I've read it to be, and I've spent a lot of time looking over that TWAB. I imagine it's going to be a drip feed, as opposed to. I don't think by the time of the raid that somebody's going to have Outlaw Rampage or Rapid Hit Rampage or Rapid Hit Kill Clip. I think those are going to be sprinkled throughout the year.
All right, question 5. What's on the menu for next week? To me, I got a lot of members marked chicken nuggets or chicken chunks in the freezer. And then some easy
Chicken chunks.
some ramen here or there. I think that's what I got.
Food, sandwich food, pasta salad, some kind of meats that I can make very easily. I'm trying to stay away from frozen pizzas because Ryan's claimed them all for himself. And I'm sure that's what he's going to say. Besides having fresh pizza, having the frozen pizzas. So I'll let Ryan take that part away.
Yeah, I am going to get a lot of pepperoni, like from the deli at Kroger. So Kroger is like a giant grocery store chain in the eastern part of the United States. I think it's called like Giant Eagle and stuff. As you go more out west, there's like or Supers, I think is another one. There's like 30 different names for Kroger. So I'm going to get me some pepperoni and some Andy Capp's hot fries. I like those pretty well. Probably get me a couple of the Flamin' Hot Cheetos to go with some hamburger meat, maybe fry some tacos up. But most of the diet, if we're going to be honest, is probably going to be Jimmy Dean's breakfast sandwiches that I can just throw in the microwave swiftly when I wake up to get those. And then last but not least, the One Bite pizzas from Barstool Sports, sold exclusively at Walmart. Those things are delicious. So that's probably going to be most of what I do. The hard part for me is going to be not drinking alcohol until like after 8 p.m. as opposed to like starting drinking at 12 or 1 in the afternoon, because that's going to inhibit me from staying up as late as I need to. So might pick up a couple bangs. Rose, Star Blast, Delish, Strawberry Kiss. Those are probably my top 3 flavors of those. So I apparently have put a lot more thought into this than the other 2 co-hosts of this podcast. So I think that was our last question out of the mailbag. Did we miss anything, guys?
No, I don't think so. I think we're excited and talked a lot about Gambit. Also, we'll have a little bit of a high as we're getting so close to Witchqueen. Only being
3 more days of work, baby. 3 more days. We're so close. So,
What Jared said.
Of course. Why wouldn't it be what Jared said? Why wouldn't it be what not Ryan Fox said? So,
Hey, I already gave you something earlier.
You did said something really nice to me. I was about teared up whenever you were talking. So make sure you follow us on Twitter at DestinyCCPod. Subscribe, click the bell, whatever else there is to do on YouTube. I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to let these 2 jokers sign off, though.
I'll keep it simple. I'll see you all in the throne world.
And I'll keep it simple. I'm going to try to read as many books as I can, but lore on Thursday might be short also, or just really last minute and just thoughts. We'll see.